commencing the meeting about 47 minutes late here. Again, I do apologize for that. All right. To open the Borough of Crafton regular council meeting Monday, May 21st, 2018 at 8:02. Let's begin with the flag salute with Ms. Damitz.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Gazarovski. He's here.
Mr. Kraus.
Present.
Ms. Perry.
Here.
Ms. Glosser.
Here.
Ms. Damitz.
Here.
Mr. Rosario. Here. Mr. Lavachier.
Here.
Mayor Bloom. Solicitor Corbel. Here. Engineer Misterman.
Here.
Mr. Amendola.
Here. Sorry I'm late.
You're not late. You're here. All right. I'd like to begin with the approval of the bill list dated May 21st, 2018.
So moved. Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes dated May 14, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Move forward. Citizens' comments, we have 3 residents listed. Mr. Crystal Beam, 57 Belvedere Street.
Thank you.
Yes.
Crystal Beam, 57 Belvedere Street, and I'd like to express an interest in the economic development within the communities of Crafton and Ingram. So I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about agenda item regarding summer interns in regard to planning, zoning, and finance. I'm excited to see the boroughs work together, and I'd like to be a part of that.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you. Deborah, Germany, 43 Belvedere.
She's with me.
Okay, all right, great. Would you like to come forward?
She's gonna be with me.
Oh, okay. And Winnie Love? Yeah, you guys are on the agenda. 43 Belvedere, so please come forward. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, my mind's elsewhere, I'm sorry. Okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, sure.
Not yet.
I'm sure you don't want to talk. They've been waiting 45 minutes. So,
Just wait just a
Pleasure,
minute.
that's at the pleasure of council.
I mean, would you mind? They've been waiting patiently for 45 minutes. I'd like to just move that forward. Please come forward. Yes,
We can-
you waited 45 minutes. Please come forward. It's A-okay. I'm sorry.
I got too comfortable. Good evening, everyone. My name is Winnie Love, and this is Deborah Germany, Minister Deborah Germany, and we're with the Belvedere Church, 43 Belvedere Grace Tabernacle. And what I'm really going to be here to do is answer questions. I'm going to try to give you an idea of what we're doing at Grace. Then I'm going to allow you to ask any questions you want, and allow Minister Germany to enlighten you on the program that we're going to be starting at Belvedere. First of all, what we are doing, we're happy, number one, to be a part of the community. Everyone here so far has accepted us gracefully. The mayor, the young ladies at the front office, the young lady down here at the intake, she's been very good. This young man right here has been very good at answering a lot of questions I have. Matter of fact, we're going to be doing a gospel concert June the 2nd here at Crafton, and just wish that everyone could take the opportunity to come and participate with us. What we've done at Grace Tabernacle, we're trying to be a community-based church, first of all. Grace Tabernacle is not Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic. It's people's church. Grace Tabernacle, basically, if you don't know what it means it's a stopping off place before you go to meet your Lord if you believe in your Lord. That's what Tabernacle is, stopping off place. So what we are doing, we are implementing several programs there now. We're doing, the Boy Scouts have a new home with us. They are 2.47. We're gonna house 147 there, giving them a room to house their equipment, giving them a room to have their meetings on Wednesday night, which I am currently the only one that's meeting with them. But I'm trying to get somewhere else so someone can take the weight off me. We are gonna be opening up, hopefully opening up our daycare, during the end of June, July, getting ready for the oncoming year. Like we are just, there's a lot of work to do. We have all the criteria, we have all the accredited people to take over. We've got a PIT and a Duke graduate that will be taking over the administrative part of it. So we're set there. We're gonna do background checks, do all the things that everyone has to do, fingerprinting, you name it. The other program that we're going to be working with is we're working on building a youth area there in the church where on Friday nights we're going to solicit youth to come in and be a part and try to give some structured programs there for the youth on Fridays. I'm not sure what the times are going to be and how long they're going to be and how long the parents are going to be, but it has to be signed off and sanctioned by the parents. We also are in the process of opening up our gym probably at the end of June, so that we can bring kids in there from 10 to 6, and if they want to play ball, but they have to get permission from their parents again, and any individuals that are going to be working with me have to do the background checks and fingerprints and all the above things that are required to be handling youth. Right now, Sister Germany is going to be bringing in a program, and I'm going to let her explain it to you. Then if there's any questions that you want to ask me in reference to her program and how we are positioning ourselves with it, I'll be happy to answer. But in the meantime, I'm going to let Sister Germany answer, because there seem to be questions as to what type of program. You know, we hear little things out in the community, and we want to squash those little things and let you know what we're doing.
Right, very good, thank you.
This is Deborah Germany.
Hello, I'm Minister Deborah Germany. I'm the Executive Director of Divine Intervention Ministries. Divine Intervention Ministries is a program that was birthed out of pain and tragedy. 17 years ago, my only child was murdered, shot 7 times in the Hill District. And as a result of that, God birthed the prison ministry in me. Because I didn't sign up to be a prison ministry director, but as my son was being murdered, God birthed this ministry in me. And for the last 17 years, we've been doing tremendous work with at-risk youth and incarcerated adults. We currently have our program in the Renewal Center. We have a Christian-based program where we teach life skills, workforce development. We find housing, employment. We provide trades for the men and women who have criminal records to go back to school. We really help them get their lives back on track. My son, he was raised right, but he made a conscious decision to sell drugs, and it cost him his life. So what I do is I speak all across the country in prisons, boot camps, churches, schools. Wherever God provides a platform as a pulpit for me. My gift is I speak life into dead places and sound the alarm and expose the devil. I've gotten all type of awards. I got the Governor's Award for being the #1 volunteer of the year for the Department of Corrections, Servant Leader Award, H.J. Hines Award. I have a folder here that will basically explain everything, but Grace Tabernacle has been gracious to allow us to have a home to provide our social services to the community. And when the men and women come through our program, when they're graduated from our program, we have a program that bonds them. If any employer hires them, they're insured in that particular matter. But any neighborhood that we go in, we come in to bring it up. So if there's anyone in this neighborhood that needs housing, employment, want to go back to school, we're here to help them. I know everybody in this room has somebody in their family that's either been incarcerated, on drugs or something. We don't like to broadcast it, but I know I raised my son right, and he still made a conscious decision to sell drugs. And as a result of that, I've been in a position to help thousands of young men and women get their lives back on track. And I have the credentials to prove it, the success stories that we have. And I don't think you get called to be the number one in the state by the governor if you're not doing something right. So I'm just grateful for Pastor Tony and Mr. Winnie to open up their doors for us to serve the community. Now, the majority of the work that we do, we help the residents while they're incarcerated or either in halfway houses, so that while they're in there, when they're ready to get out, we have a job for them, housing, get them unified with their family, direct them to churches depending on what area they're going to be relocated in. And I have an excellent working relationship with Renewal. We also had the ability to start a church in Renewal. And that's something that's unheard of through the Department of Corrections or the Bureau of Prisons. But our work has been so successful in there that they allowed us to continue our Christian-based program the second and fourth Sunday. So I believe they could give you all the programming in the world, but if you don't have a spiritual foundation, which is God in your life, I don't believe you'll make it. I know you have a better chance of making it with that. And I don't have any parents, children, grandchildren, or siblings, but I've committed the rest of my life to restoring the lives of others. And I just consider it an honor to be in a position to do that. Matter of fact, the guys in my program have been, they're committed to do community service. So they came out and did all kind of community service, helped get the church ready for our installation service. So people put a stigma on them like they're rapists or murderers, and they're not. They're people that made a mistake, and God's given them a second chance. We all make mistakes, but we just didn't get caught. So I know I've made mistakes, but nothing criminal, but had it not been for the grace of God, I could be sleeping under the bridge somewhere. One of the young men that was successful in my program is Kentucky, and he has like a speech impediment. At first I thought he was just coming for the candy, because I always give him candy in my program. But he started hanging around and, learning the curriculum and everything. So he's hard to understand, so he was saying, 14 days, on Street Bridge. I said, what? He said, 14 days, on Street Bridge. He was saying, in 14 days, I'm going to be under the 9th Street Bridge. I said, why would you be under the 9th Street Bridge in 14 days? He said, because I'm leaving Renewal. He said, and I'm from Kentucky, I don't know nobody here. He said, so I'm going under the 9th Street Bridge. I said, not on my watch. You ain't going under the 9th Street Bridge. So I connected him with our resources, because I have a lot of community partners. I don't have physical jobs or physical houses, but I have community partners that know people that have criminal records and are willing to give them a chance. So that first night, I put him in a hotel because he was getting released from the renewal. The following week, I got him in a program. He had to go from different programs when the time limit runs out. But today, Kentucky has his own house, his own car. We got him a lawyer. He got his Social Security. He keeps all his medical appointments. He balances his own checkbook. And this is a man that did 18 years in prison. But if you don't help restore them, matter of fact, if you don't help restore these men and women, you can look up one day and they'll be standing over you in your bedroom. It's a public safety issue to not help restore their lives. You can't just let them out and not have nothing for them. That's why one of our biggest partners is the Energy Ovation Center. Are you familiar with the Old Conley Trade Building?
Yes.
Okay, well, Ms. Barnett is our board chair. We partnered with the Energy Ovation Center for the Intro to Trades program. So the men in our program and women can go there, enroll in an 8 to 12 week program, learn a trade, be certified, be in a union, and have a career. Now, it's one thing to get a person a job. It's the second thing if they keep it. Because some of the men ain't used to getting up, they're not used to being on time. So you have to do wraparound services first to get them ready if they need drug and alcohol, rehabilitation. And if you're doing all this good work in the prison or in the halfway house, then they return back to a dysfunctional home. So what good is it? So we work with the whole family. Because you think you just helping one person, then when you realize all the other things. Some people have been sexually molested and all types of things, trauma, grief, that's never been addressed. I would say 80% of the inmates that are incarcerated or suffering from PTSD. Never been treated. I have a personal working relationship with Secretary Wetzel. He's right up under the governor. He works hand in hand with me. And he's just a phone call away. Anytime I call him, any type of funding we need or support, he's right there. So I'm honored to come here and help, but I don't want the community to be alarmed or anything because we're here to serve. I lost my only child and I've dedicated my life to doing this work. And I want you to feel free to come inspect whatever answers you need, references, I have them. Do you have any other questions or anything?
So it sounds like there's a lot of really good work that you're trying to do over there at the church. And I know that everyone appreciates that, and I want to commend you for the work that you're doing. One of the things that I want to put out there has more to do with the physicality, not the quality of the work, not the work coming from the heart, the work to serve God. What we have in the physical plant that you have, that building that your organization, your church has, is a location in the middle of a residential area. And I will be candid that when churches in older times were, as you say, community-based, so they were allowed in residential areas because people walked to services. And so we have, again, please understand that I'm talking about the physical plant and the surrounding area. So one of the biggest concerns that I understand that I have heard is a couple of things. It's in the middle of a residential street, and the amount of traffic that the programs supported by a building of that size bring a number of residents, or a number of program participants that exceed the capacity of the street. We have a street that's not in good working order. Your building does not have adequate parking. And I think that that has caused friction in a way that we would like to avoid. Beyond that, I mean, there'll be a lot of questions about some of the programs that you're planning have zoning issues that are going to need to be discussed. That it's important to understand that a building like that, that has been granted the usage that that building has been granted, there are certain limitations. So there's going to have to be more communication, and there's going to have to be some resolution of the difficulty on that street with regard to parking and the kinds of programs, the number of people that are going to be coming and going, because that's all I'm hearing about, is the difficulties because there's not adequate, there's not adequate accommodation, and it's severely impacting the residents.
You want to speak on that? Okay, what we're working on, first of all, it takes money, and we're preparing grants as we speak now, but it takes time for grants. In the proposal, I'll be happy to share with everyone here the grant proposals. The one is making sure that we redo the parking that we have at the end of the street. And we also have adequate parking behind, but we're looking at the process with Allegheny Construction Group, which is my consultant and my friends from Deckwoods. It's about $150,000 project behind, and at least at the end between 125 and 175 to redo that lighting and everything down there. So we have adequate parking, not immediately. We have adequate parking right now, but it's a struggle on Sunday sometimes, and I grant you it is a struggle.
So,
but what we're trying to do.
I understand that there's significant economic burdens to do that.
But what we're trying to do is on Sundays, we're trying to get it to the point where we can have someone follow the individuals that have to have their cars, drive down, park, and we run back and forth with a vehicle to bring them back. Because some of them don't, especially in climate weather, it's difficult to walk on the sidewalks. Elderly people walking on the sidewalks with the snow and when it rains. Ladies don't want to get their hair messed up. I don't have to worry about mine, but they don't want to get their hair messed up.
Well,
But that is a plan.
Barry, thank you for your comments. I just
Thank
want
you.
to limit the comments of council. I'm really excited that you guys came this evening to tell us about the mission of the organization. And I think, we need to just ensure that we can coincide, that as this facility is brought back to life, that it's brought back to code, and that we can, take care of any nuisance issues with regards to parking and traffic on that street.
We're
Because,
working on it.
yeah, and the thing is, you have a partner in the municipality, we need to make sure that we're doing our part, and we have a good communication. So with that, on the compliance side of things, I think, the interim manager, public works director, Kazarowski, will be working with you.
Yes.
We just need to make sure that we have a transparent dialogue on these things, and we can make sure that the facility is brought up to code. I know we had a pass on the Ansel system for the kitchen, and that was with the exception that if the kitchen was to become in use, it would be
It
brought
has,
to
it has
code.
to be, to come up to code.
Yeah, and what I'm really excited to hear, part of the conversation that you brought to us, is you have all these great resources through the Energy Innovation Center, and hopefully you can bring those to bear to help the organization and bring that facility back to a useful life. And we're excited because a facility like that needs a lot of tender loving care. It's been there since the 1880s.
1883.
Yeah, so with that, we're excited to hear that you guys are gonna.
Might I say this, Dennis Piper, I've become a Rotarian too here in the borough, okay? These guys have opened their arms to me, so I am an official member. Dennis is giving us and gonna set us up with 8 computers. We're gonna start computer labs to try rehabilitating individuals that want to come, and it's gonna be open, anybody who wants to come to the workshop. He's gonna set up 8 computers in the church.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The last thing, I just thank you for letting us be here, and we have an open door policy, so whatever we need to come compliant, we will. But we could bring a lot of life to this neighborhood, but we just want everybody to be on the same page.
Oh, well, we really appreciate you coming to council and telling us a little bit about what the ministry is going to be doing in the community, and we're hopeful that it's successful here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I have a folder to give you.
All right, great, thank you.
Mr. Corbin, have any questions? I do not at this time, no.
This is my bio, program summary, and this will tell you all of the work we've done, boards.
Thank you so much.
I didn't know who to talk to.
Nancy, you last name survey?
Yes, Minister Deborah Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you for your time.
Again, sorry for making you guys wait so long.
No, it's fine.
We're gonna be on the way.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. All right.
We move on to engineering.
Rick, have you been whispering to Mark?
Let's fall asleep over here.
Yeah, hold on. We're gonna accept the written reports and move on. Okay. I acknowledge the receipt of the written reports, the treasurer's report, the financial report, the Act 511 report, the trash collection reports, the property tax collection report, the police report, the EMS report, the ordinance officer's report, the building inspection report, the public works report, the fire department report, and the library report. Are there any comments on any of the reports?
Good night.
Thank you, thank you. With that being said, the mayor's here this evening. We're not at our regular scheduled meeting time, so he's over at the fire department. Moving on to the engineer's report, Mr. Misterman.
Thank you. Nothing new other than what was submitted in the report a few days ago. interim manager Kazarowski had let me know about some demolition work, that the restoration looks questionable. So we're gonna go out Sycamore and Fountain Street, take a look at those sites and see if they've sustained some damage over the winter, and make sure the contractor's in compliance with his contracted maintenance bond. So that's all I have to add to the report.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You want to give us an update on the paving program real quick before you go?
I can pull that up. Current award was to Independent Enterprises, currently executing the contract with that company. Scheduled to develop after the contract, the schedule will be developed after the contract's executed. So we're still in the process of getting the paperwork signed and back. As soon as that's done, we'll get a schedule for when the actual work will begin. The 2017 road program, there were some punch list items that are being maintained or that are being worked with the contractor to get resolved. So that's underway.
Yeah, just touch base, I want to thank Gateway, yeah, they're back, actually fixed the one low spot where we had some puddling, they were in there today off Grande. They're in there now doing the parking lot at the pool. I'm not sure if anybody got the opportunity to drive by, but that part of the rain garden, that will be completed before we open the pool this Saturday, believe it or not, but Al Grande was in there today doing the milling and preparing work for the paving portion, and they are gonna address the punch list. We met with Gateway Engineers to review the 2017 program, and there were some defects that occurred over the winter, and Al Grande knew that they were gonna have to do the repairs, and they were open and willing to do it, and they'll be out in the neighborhoods doing some paving repairs from last year.
Okay. And before you leave, I want you to stay for the solicitor's report because we're gonna have a question for you.
Definitely.
Okay?
We are.
Yes, we are. That's how you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought that was.
No, the open up meeting.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't gonna report on that, but we could talk about
Okay. Because, Rob, Fred, we have some good news for you.
Is it gonna open?
That'd be different.
All right.
it. Okay, I don't know if I have any good news either, but I'll do my darndest. Before the meeting this evening, council held an executive session. You may have heard us. We discussed personnel issues, property transfers, and an information-only meeting. Also, I want to inform council that the borough received an application for a tattoo parlor at 92 Noble. And that is, they need to obtain a use variance from the zoning hearing board because tattoos are considered an adult-oriented use in the borough, and they are not permitted in that district. It is the C2 district. So in order to open such a tattoo parlor in that location, they'll need to obtain a use variance from the zoning hearing board. If council would like to take a position in any hearing before the zoning hearing board on that, please let me know so I can ensure that you are represented at the hearing if you would like to take a position for or against.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the location that already has been moved into and signage is up?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So they've been, or is it already open too, or?
No.
No.
Oh,
Just signage.
So they bought the building and,
No.
No, they,
Lease, lease.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase, they leased the building, not anticipating this roadblock, in other words.
Apparently.
Okay.
Lastly, well, not lastly, we want to talk about Ewing, but 52 Baldwick, we talked about that at the end of the meeting. That property can be listed for sheriff's sale. It will cost $2,000 or so, according to Jordan, to do so. But in talking with Mr. Louasser earlier today, there's belief that the property may also be prime for demolition. And unless council objects, I was going to interact with Mr. Felton and ask him to take a look. So we're not throwing good money after bad if it is a property that could be demoed. With respect to 92 Noble, there has been no answer filed. 96 Noble, there has been no answer filed on the tax complaint, and so I will be working with Jordan to ensure that that process moves forward on that property. And then with respect to Ewing Road, we wanted an opinion from
Well,
the
what we're
engineer.
saying, the interim manager and I have been discussing proceeding with opening, using some of the specifications that you guys have been discussing at your meeting. So I don't know if you'd like us to have a motion this evening, or any resources, or you want to wait until June until you have a budget. But if you'd like to move forward with a motion to
I'd like to
proceed.
wait, I'd like to maybe meet Gateway out there, meet the engineer out there again, just to discuss.
So from a legal perspective, we understand the risk involved. We'd like to see weight restrictions, and so if you'd like to come with a brief paragraph of what the requirements are going to be, but
I would just add that we've been talking internally with some direction from Mr. Kazarowski and saying, look, you know, we're not going to be able to build walls, we're not going to be able to spend an exorbitant amount of money on here. What are some options? What are some other ways? So we've gone back and rethought some of these ideas, and we have some things to explore now. So we'll come to you with a work authorization to talk about these ideas, to explore the ideas, the concepts, and zero in on what is the best, most economic way as it relates to carrying capacity of the road versus the cost, right? So there'll be a balance of risk versus usage versus cost. So we'll have some options now, and you'll be able to make a decision on how to open it with and without limitations and what that will cost. So it's a little different than the approach we took originally, was how do we make this right? How do we make this within a very specific design engineering standards with essentially no risk? And it just wasn't affordable. So we've rethought that, and now ready to come back to you with a work authorization, which would be a budget estimate and a scope of what we could provide, to finally give you the information to make a decision on how to open that.
okay. And then Mrs. Corbel, you'd be able to research what type of ordinance we may need for any type of weight restrictions.
Yeah, if there are weight restrictions, typically that's enforced by ordinance, so if that's necessary, we can certainly do that.
And we'll
Okay.
see.
Great. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're making progress. How about you, Mr. Amendola?
Hey, you're doing a good job.
Thanks, Mr. Amendola. I appreciate it. All right, good job, team. All right, Mr. Mann, you're excused.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
And, all right. Keep you, Mr. Corbel. All right, moving forward to the agenda, we have a special guest from the Carnegie Mellon University, Heinz College. Eddie, would you like to come up?
Take it away. Thank you, Jackie, for helping me out with our lovely 21st century technology. I was not able to get you guys handheld copies, unfortunately. A little bit expensive, and the printer ran out of magenta for my black and white printing. So here we go. So as was said, I'm from Carnegie Mellon University. I'm studying Masters of Science in Public Policy and Management, and I'll be your intern for one of the interns. The brief agenda will not take this long. Brief agenda, goes to the next one. Will not take this long, but I wanted to briefly talk about my description of what I'll be doing, my skill set, a little bit of my schedule, some tangibles and deliverables that you guys will get from me, as well as introducing some preliminary topic ideas that I would like to briefly discuss. To begin with, I will be participating in developing the BEAT, which is the Blight Enforcement Action Team, and I would like anyone whatsoever who wants to participate in that to come forward and let me know so we can start having meetings and discussing some of these real-world issues. I'll be collaborating alongside Crafton and Ingram staff and residents. I would like to attend regular public participation meetings such as this one. And of course, there's a bunch of other cool stuff you guys have in the joint implementable comprehensive plan and other such things. I'm very much interested in housing and commercial vacancy and blight, as well as displacement and gentrification, increasing owner occupancy, residential density stabilization and zoning, as was brought up by previous residents. Code enforcement effectiveness, I know this is a very passionate topic, so I'm very interested to hear all the different issues you have, as well as real estate values and tax revenues, and opportunities and strategies for development long past my time here. Some of the things that I would like to give you are an accurate and complete database of the vacancy. I know it's changed a little bit over time. I'd like to give you an updated version of that and also an idea of what to do with it. It's possible there might be some zoning policy change proposals, if ever that seems appropriate. I would like to bring those to the table and discuss those. As I said before, code enforcement is a very passionate topic, and we might find some very unique and custom code enforcement strategies that might work for Crafton and Ingram, which I would like to also present on. I'm pretty savvy with financial analysis, so I'll probably be doing that towards the policies that I'm proposing, in addition to some social analysis of these same proposals. And like I said, a report of long-term deliverables and goals and strategies. So some of my skills, I'm pretty good at making money. I've been able to help the URA get $150,000, thank you.
You'd be director.
It's called Friday, so. It happens from time to time.
For the Alarm Choice Homeowner Assistance Program, I've been able to get plenty of money to go to scholarships and conferences and such. I was able to help Sisters Pittsburgh tackling LGBTQ homelessness. And I've won some money for my ideas and government case competitions. I'm also pretty good at project management, so if you have a bunch of cats, I'm pretty good at herding them. I like to make network diagrams in order to time out how these tasks are going to happen and actually get them done on time. I was able to help the People's Pride 2017 march, which had over 20 volunteers and hundreds of marchers, and some security altercations. That was pretty much the manager of that nonsense. I'm also pretty good at doing cost and quality management, so analyzing what are the costs, what are the benefits, and will this be a quality product at the end of it, and as well as risk management. What I'm doing at school is a lot of policy analysis, researching and presenting on relevant policy items, including analyzing the financial and social consequences, both the good and the bad. Public participation, I'm very interested in deliberative democracy. That means actually going out into the community and actually asking people their ideas and opinions, instead of just saying, why didn't you show up at my meeting that I held once a month at a random day? I also like to engage in scenario planning, meaning giving the residents the opportunity to make choices. If you say, this is a really tough decision that council has not been able to figure out, what would you do as a resident? Would you pick A or B? And tell me why. I also like to think about experimental policy, and we might be able to do that a little bit, but I only have 2 months here, so we'll see. I also like to take a communication-oriented design, meaning like to educate everyone around me, making sure that not only do I know something, but everyone I speak to also can get up to speed very quickly with what's going on. And also, I own a program, and I know plenty of IT, so if you have any computer questions, like, I'm your guy. So is Jackie, by the way. And of course, next skill set. I've been around many architects, real estate people, and housing people, so I'm pretty good at reading blueprints, zoning maps. I'm familiar with real estate finance, property management, ownership policies, etc. I know you guys have been thinking about side yards and accessory units. I could look into that further to make sure you guys are making an adequate choice. As well as I want to work on tax delinquency, and you might find some tinkle titles too. And in general, I'm just kind of creative. I'm kind of out there. I'm outside the box. I like to think about different things in very complicated ways. And I also speak Spanish. So. My proposed schedule, I want to work 20 to 30 hours in the office, and the rest of the time out of the office. Dive into the books, go into the library, talking to people on the streets. So far, I've been managed to go out into the town on Friday bike around, say hi to people, ask them questions, where are the vacant houses, what would you like to see these vacant houses become? I've gotten some pretty good responses so far, so I will probably keep up that schedule.
No, on this schedule here, it says you work in the office for 20 hours on Monday.
No, that's not accurate. Although last Monday I was, and probably today I did too, because it's council. But anyway, so I'm planning on these next 2.5 months to be broken down as such. First 2 weeks, I'd like to get everything set up, computer software, go and explore these blighted properties in person. Begin to explore your guys' code enforcement and zoning and policies and et cetera. And also I want to hurry up and get this beat on the road, trying to establish a meeting schedule and figure out who's going to be there so we can hurry up and meet. The second part is going to be the next 4 weeks, going to research heavily the blight and enforcement policies from neighboring neighborhoods, such as what is Dormont doing that's making them explode right now with so much tax revenue because they're selling all their houses. How can we do that? I also want to begin to develop and maintain and integrate the accurate database of vacant parcels. So hopefully this will have been started in the following 4 weeks, as well as to begin drafting the long-term goals and strategies. And the last 2 weeks, I'll be winding down a little bit, finalizing the beat meetings, finalizing these long-term goals and strategies. We might be able to experiment a little bit with policies that I've been able to propose and maybe test them a little bit, such as through scenario planning with precedents. And the last 2 weeks, you might not see me done with check. That takes some time. So what are the tangibles and deliverables? Like I said before, you'll probably get a integrated vacant and blight database, both in GIS, Excel, and if you really want access, I can do access, but I don't like access. I will give you a final report of the custom vacancy and blight policies that we will develop over the time. You'll get a final report on all of the public process findings. Everyone I've talked to, you will hear in general and anonymously what they were saying. And also an exit memo, so you can get a nice little big old memo of all the cool things we would want to accomplish. And I mentioned that I might be able to publish something, I think in the following slide. Publish might mean that you guys put it on the Borough website. There might be a paper for CMU that everyone who participates will have their name on it. So I would like to probably print a comprehensive plan similar to the way that Thrive did. And also whatever method you guys do communication updates, such as through email or letter blast or whatever, it's probably going to go through that too. And then the rest of these slides are pretty much just buzzwords of things that I'd like to talk about. But mostly I want to hear from you guys. You can just skip through the last 4 and back and forth. Who right now can you think of would like to be on the beat team? If that's it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. Anyone else? Okay, give me your names at the end. And with that, thank you so much for your time. I know you guys have a long day.
Thank you so much.
Good question.
Yes.
We're not paying you for this?
Yeah, you are. You're, well,
Crafton is not, Ingram is.
Ingram's paying for him, we're paying for another intern.
So yeah, take advantage.
It's a team.
Say that again? There's 2 interns, but actually, Ingram's paying for one, we're paying for one, and we're gonna share both interns.
I mean, this is awesome. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God. Oh, it is.
I can hug you, baby.
No, don't lie.
I think you did a great job this evening, thank you.
Very
Thanks a
nice.
lot for 2.5 months. We'll see.
Ambitious, thank you.
No, we're not.
There's a motion on the table to appoint graduate student Christopher Bell as summer 2018 intern for planning, zoning, and finance to the Carnegie Mellon University Hines College Federal Community Service Work Study Program.
And so to be specific, that's not the young man we just heard.
Oh, that's correct.
Okay.
This isn't Christopher Bell.
No, this is
It's all.
Oh, right. So this would be, generally speaking, Chris's.
So moved.
all right. Discussion. So we picked out 2 interns. Eddie and Chris are going to be working together. What Sam and I agreed to is for processing and to keep paperwork clean, that Ingram would do the payroll for Eddie, and we would do the payroll for Chris. And
Which is grant money, right?
correct. So
Yeah, it's
for the
really
whole,
not costing us
so-
anything.
well, it's costing us $1,800 per student per borough to have this for 400 hours. So it's a great value. It's gonna be
$1,800.
Wait a minute,
Correct.
when you say 1,800 per student per borough, our total cost is 1,800?
That is our total cost just for salary, our 30% due.
Okay, so it's a
To the university.
70-30, and we're only responsible for $1,800
Correct.
for
And then,
Chris.
So the
And
grant
Sam
takes
is
care.
paying, or Ingram is paying the $1,800
correct.
contribution.
And they're gonna
for
work
that.
together, and they're
Okay.
both colleagues, students at the Heinz College.
So you're
So,
super good. 2 Heinz beers, that's a good deal.
yeah.
Get my autograph.
Take it off that, in retail, as long as we're talking Heinz, I took over, I'll buy one. get
That's-
one free.
Right, so, and with that, we're going to, get a computer and, some other incidentals like paper or whatever consumables we use. But we already have the GIS system, we already have all those tools, so we're just ready to.
So the grant pays 70%, we pay 30%.
Correct.
And our 30% is $1,800.
That's correct.
All right, that was my question.
Okay,
Over
great.
400 hours, basically.
That cannot exceed
That's an awesome
400.
deal.
Below minimum.
Right.
Rob, did a good job.
Eddie was in today all day, all night, he's coming in about 12:30. Set him up in the back
Yeah.
enforcement office. And he's already got his feet wet, we're scheduled a dry run just to review some of the problem properties in the borough next week.
And Chris will start on Monday, so. Okay, so I think we're gonna be able to tag team this. So with that being said, all in favor?
Okay.
All right. Unanimous vote. All right, great.
That's pretty funny.
All right, so moving forward, under procurement, a motion to apply for a Costco wholesale executive membership for the Borough of Crafton and to furnish tax exempt documentation in order to acquire tax exempt status for purchases at Costco wholesale.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
Yeah, under 2 there, is that a separate motion, or?
Number 2, for that was just an announcement about, we're talking about with
The savvy citizen.
The
Because
savvy
see how
citizen
good it is, a
thing.
1 and a 2 on,
that one, we already, that
Right.
was,
okay, so
right.
we're just
Right,
considering.
right now,
motion
we have a
for
motion
one.
on the floor,
For
so.
what?
for that.
We have a motion on the floor
For Costco.
for
Costco.
the Costco thing.
Right.
But the savvy citizen thing
Yeah,
is
I know,
under the
we gotta
same
get through this.
motion.
No,
No, no,
it's
no
poorly,
separate
it's
motion.
poorly typed up, Fred.
Okay.
2 items underneath, so it doesn't matter. So at any rate, any discussion on the Costco executive membership for the borough?
Who's having use of it?
So we can, put Mr. Kozrowski in that seat, that's what my suggestion will be.
Actually, we just opened up a Sam's, we redid the Sam's Club membership. I think Costco would probably be used the same way. Marcia would have an opportunity with senior dinner, and just another opportunity to go either Costco or Sam's Club for different purchases. So it'd be the same that we have on the Sam's Club membership. That would be my recommendation.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All that opposed? All right, motion carries. So, the next item, Savvy Citizen, a digital community calendar and events notification quote received for annual subscription and advertising, came in at $18.19. The contract was reviewed by the solicitor, and there was no issues.
And we previously have motioned and approved this.
Right.
So that was a
As I told,
announcement.
right, as
Announcement.
as I told Fred, I would make sure that, and I called Krishna today, I don't know if she was able to process that, but I don't think she was able to. But I wanted to make sure that we talked about it here. It was announced, that was the cost. This time, we're gonna make sure that there's advertising, because with Nixle, we don't have enough people on it, and it's only for the really EMS issues. This is a calendar and notification system. So to make this work, hopefully we can leverage Savvy Citizen to sort of get the word out about Nixle too, and we can have both work adequately for the community. We can advertise it, here over a couple coming months. So moving forward, surplus property and demolition salvage. We have a resolution. I don't know if you guys had opportunity to take a look at what I sent over in the email. But this basically will enable the manager to liquidate assets under $1,000. Anything over $1,000 would have to be advertised. So I'll just read the resolution. A resolution description. A resolution of the Borough of Crafton, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, establishing procedures to sell surplus personal property with a value less than $1,000 and repealing all resolutions inconsistent therewith. After talking with Abby Rosario, he had concern that maybe we should lower it down to $500. So does anybody have any comment about the dollar value that the manager would be able to liquidate outside of public notification?
Why do you want to take it down to 500?
Because there's certain things of that can be taken out of that consequently, maybe just a lower amount, I think that'd be better.
I'm okay with that, and this is boilerplate language and mirrors a lot of what's in that.
I think that, isn't it mostly gonna be more like computers and copiers and stuff like that, though, nothing gonna be more than a couple $100 anyway.
The $1,000 comes from the Borough Code, that just says you have to have council action to approve that disposition. And what this resolution does is it substitutes for council action. And instead of council voting to sell printer for $10 to somebody or whatnot, it just allows the manager to handle it so long as the manager follows the process set forth in the resolution.
I think, actually the way this came about, there was work being done by the water department on Ewing Road, restoration work. And what happened, they needed brick. The brick that for the repair on Ewing had failed. So he asked if I had brick accessible, and we have it in the yard, it's not cleaned. So he actually went down and purchased some brick to finish the job on Ewing Road. He reimbursed the borough $300 that I gave to Chris Munn just to put right back in the road fund. This was for road repair. And that came about because I guess being new as an interim manager, I wasn't sure of the process and procedure for the sale of assets that the borough had. And that's how this came formulated. I think $1,000 is good. I think the only time we liquidated any assets that I've been chair was this time with the brick. We can support that.
You think it would help over the 1,000 rather than just 500?
I think 1,000 is good. Instead of like that, if that would have happened and occurred, I'd have to take it to council. It was a late council action on it. So I think that was to me. That was the crap. That was the Crafton on Ewing Road.
So that the bricks were to our contract.
To the contract, Pennsylvania American contractor doing work in the borough.
And then the other thing is if we are, let's say we have bricks, for instance, and Ingram needs bricks, and they come to us and say, hey, we want to give you $500 or $1,000 for bricks. Technically, we don't have to go through a huge, drawn-out public advertising.
Right, because another municipal entity, those advertising requirements aren't, then you have to follow those.
Okay. Okay, great. So,
So then there's a discussion on the table about whether the limit should be 500 for Abby's recommendation or leave it at 1,000 as we
which is
have it.
consistent with the borough code.
And so the $1,000 is the number that's consistent with the borough code.
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so-
fine,
So then you're just,
yeah, that's fine.
okay, okay, so we're gonna leave it at
So the amendment is
1,000.
withdrawn.
All right.
Thank you.
So should we have a motion
I thought.
for or resolution?
Motion to approve the resolution.
All right, a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Resolution moves forward. Thank you. And can you just make sure that I got the right resolution? That's correct.
Okay. No, I'm just gonna double check.
Okay, thank you.
It might have been a lot.
All right,
No.
the second motion,
Okay, I'll explain.
a motion to partner with Construction Junction, a nonprofit, located at 214 North Lexington Street, Pittsburgh, PA 15208, website of cjreuse.org. When practical, when the borough approves a legally permissible demolition in order to minimize building materials from being deposited into landfills and to promote conservation through the reuse of building materials.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So are we saying that any future demolitions, that if there is material, say, in the house,
That's salvageable.
that's salvageable, that Construction Junction would pay,
Right.
that this allows us to donate it to them? Is that what this is saying?
Yes.
Okay, and would that, so then, would it be a situation that as the demolition occurs, there are certainly different ways of, we're demolishing and we're not worrying about recovering, we have differential costs involved, is that correct?
So if they were able to go in there and it's safe for them to go in there, they would they would
okay,
harvest.
so they
the-
would do the work, the
Right, they would
harvest,
harvest the materials
so
with a work, they have a work
demolition-
program, there's
okay.
an entire, good, feel-good story about what they do with putting people back to work and training them and having them on these demo crews, et cetera. So then they go in, salvage what's salvageable, take it back to Construction Junction. It's a nonprofit, it would be put out for public sale, and anybody who would be interested in those materials would be able to buy it, and that money goes back to sustaining that organization.
So essentially what we're saying is doing this would not impact the cost of the
No.
way our demolitions would happen. So
No.
it's actually Construction Junction removes it before the demolition.
You're right.
Okay, thank you.
Will this delay an actual demolition though?
Well, we've allowed for 1508, and it's how many days are we now? 60, 90 days, 60 days since we've approved 1508? So in that time, I mean, we're not gonna slow down the demolition. It's either you get out here, we approve the demolition, you need to get out here, and if you don't, you don't, and the building comes down, and everything goes in the dumpster. Would you like to speak to that?
You also, that's true, you also need to make sure that if you intend, the borough intends to allow someone to salvage items inside the building prior to the demo contractor coming, that the demo contractor is aware of that, because a lot of times they bid because they know they can take things out of the structure and sell scrap metal and things like that, and that is a relation to the cost that they provide the borough. So if you let somebody go in and strip the house like Construction Junction, then you may be paying twice as much for a demo.
So that we need to just have a policy that would work. We need to have a policy communicated to the.
You just have to decide if it's worth it. I mean, when the demo guys are gonna give you a quote, they're gonna wanna come around and look at the house.
Correct.
And so you can ask them for a quote, do you want the stuff or do you not want it? You get 2 quotes from them, with the materials or without the materials. But I mean, Rob, your experience, I'm sure is the same.
My concern is having somebody go into the structure that's already condemned and gonna be demoed, liability issues. And obviously, they couldn't go until we get the results from the asbestos test, which was done prior before the demo.
This will work in limited situations.
Right. And that's where saying when practical.
Yes.
William?
I bought things in Construction Junction that were taken out of other homes and put them in my house. I have things in my house right now, so it does work. But I have to say, I am in favor of this motion, because I do think it's within reason. Certainly some of the homes that I've seen, the ones that are legitimately falling down, and I'm not quite sure anything is really something that Construction Junction is going to want anyway. But in the cases where you might have a situation where the structure's in good shape, you have good woodwork, you have built-ins, you have stained glass, or something that they could take out, if we're gonna, that's where I think giving them the first, giving them an opportunity to come in here and make.
Which other municipalities have,
Yeah.
Right.
such as Wilkinsburg.
So would it be, given what our solicitor has said, and I do understand that, if it would be more a situation of if we're taking a bid for demolition, asking what they, what they would want to take and what would still be up for grabs.
I mean, they mostly just want the metals.
In my, I don't think Construction Junction is stripping metals more so than they are the fireplace mantles, the
casework.
the casework.
Yeah, I think that.
Pocket doors.
Pocket doors.
Those guys will give you some used brick depending on the type of it, they're going to allow you to demo.
Right.
Right.
And the thing is, when you get them in before you even bring the demo contractor in to give you a bid, have it conjunct, after
At least
construction.
what do they
done,
want?
then you
Yeah,
bring-
what do they want?
Right.
Then it'll be done and it'll be
Yep.
Okay.
just flat bid.
Okay.
So it's basically gonna be like, they were demoing this property.
Right.
You have a week to get to it, check it out before we send it out for bids,
Yes.
kind of thing.
Right, and I think Coletta asked if the estimate for the demolition would be impacted by what was in there. And she, I think she asked Phil, and he said no, it wouldn't make any difference, but I think you said that it could, because the demolition guy's gonna come in, if there's copper in there, or if there's stained glass, one of the things that he wants, the demolition cost is gonna be lower.
Typically,
Correct?
Yes,
Isn't that what you said?
Construction Junction is in the metals business, so that's the most valuable, the copper wire, the metal, that's what the demo guys want most. Rob said they like bricks sometimes too.
So,
But that's not what Construction Junction's going.
No, they're more interested.
Construction Junction, we basically are opening our arms to someone coming in and taking out whatever they want, and then getting the demolition
not necessarily.
Well, in
price.
some cases,
Is that what you're saying?
somebody has already taken out what they want, whether you had a choice or not. Some of the homes have already been stripped. So in this case, what we're saying is Construction Junction can come in, take your choice of mantelpieces and so on and so forth. The demo guys will never know that because they're gonna see that
But wait a
property
minute.
as
Oh,
we
sorry.
give it to them. So, if Construction Junction comes in on a certain day and then 5 months later the demo guys come in, they're never gonna know. Hey, where's that mantle? Hey, where's that, piece of molding at?
But if there are things there that they want, the demolition price would
In theory, yeah,
Go-
for sure.
go down.
Yeah.
Yes, so Coletta, can you speak, please?
Okay. So I'm not in favor of the scenario that Brad just outlined. I think what we're looking for is the situation, I understand what Solicitor Corbel is saying, is that usually there won't be an overlap, but we want to make sure of that. I mean, what we want to make sure of is that because we have a plan to be as aggressive as possible with demolitions that need to be done, we don't want to spend more than we need to. So what we want is a situation where Construction Junction might say, this is what we'd like to take, and then when we have the bid for demolition, that they're able to see that, and they're able to say, oh, wait a minute, if we had this, it would cost $1,000 less, or $2,000 less. So basically, what I would like to see ensured is that we have a process that the material that Construction Junction might want would not adversely affect our cost of demolition. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Are we setting a precedence here for the neighbor to come in and say, I know that mantle's in that house, I'd like to have that mantle? I mean, Are we gonna set a precedence for anybody wanting to go in that house and get something out that they wanna
Not
have?
for, not for free.
Oh,
for free.
we're not charging Consumption Junction, are we?
But this is a not-for-profit.
What's it called?
Construction Junction.
Construction Junction, and it's a not-for-profit.
Certificate about Construction Junction.
Why are we even bringing this up of having them come in? Why are we not just having?
Because
them
we're about
do it?
I agree.
to put more unique pieces of salvageable construction materials in the landfill, and we've been doing it
Yes.
with many other communities, and this is about changing that ethic and bringing it to use and reuse and keeping it out of landfill. Because we live in an area that has a lot of unique woodwork and different assets in these homes, and
Which
it's
is
just
valuable to the construction guy.
well,
Or
my
construction
experience,
guy.
my experience with the demo contractors has been that they're going exactly at what you talked about, the meadows.
So,
They're not gonna flip a mansion.
right, I believe that there is a, you know, a good synchronicity here, simpatico, where we don't have a lot of overlap. We just want to ensure that. And then to your point, Fred, if someone in the community, the thing about Construction Junction, if you haven't had an experience, being a not-for-profit, the biggest thing is that their program, the people that will be working on it will be insured, they'll be able to remove it safely, and our community members can go purchase it for probably less, and it will have been removed in a safe environment. So we
And if
could
the building
even go
is-
so far as to let our community know what is available. I mean, we could go that far, because then we could maybe reclaim some of it.
Yeah, Brad?
No, to your tech for Alice and Fred, like I bought a built-in cabinet there when I moved into my house, because I had a spot where something ripped and went out when they had my house as 2 apartments. So I saw the spot in which there was a built-in there, and I thought, well, it'd be great if I could ever make one. So I happened to be at Construction Junction, and I saw a brand new built-in for my house on the north side somewhere that fit the dimensions exactly. So I bought it for $100. So I think, basically what she's saying is probably spot on. I mean, I don't think you or I are gonna go into a house and rip out the stained glass window, but, if you're in the market for a stained glass window, and we know so-and-so's house has been knocked down over on Emily Street or whatever, Construction Junction will post what they have, and people can go and get it. So I think it would be good to salvage some of the things that we have in these homes, like Phil said, because there's other communities that have the same housing stock we do, which, you can't recreate 100-year-old buildings, because some guy in 1987 didn't have didn't think to not rip it out, essentially. So, I think that in a case in which they're not going after any of the metals, they're just gonna go in like Mr. Koval said, flip a mantelpiece, or take the tops off the stair, yeah, thank you.
Or the stairways themselves.
Yeah, the stairways themselves. I've seen everything down there, from claw-footed tubs to tile work, people's old tile, so.
So, let's just put it to a vote, and with that being said, we have 2 great interns that are gonna be working with us, and we wanna have more policies and procedures with this, when practical, we can implement that, okay? So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that opposed?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Amendola. Moving forward, Planning Commission, a motion to appoint Richard Kramer to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term expiring April 18 of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, how did we come to the decision? There were 2 applicants. One was Lou Ryan, who has been on the planning commission for the past 4 years, I believe.
That's correct.
So how did we, I'm sure he's a good guy, and I've heard some very good things about him.
Great.
But how did we come to that decision to have a motion on the floor tonight?
Lou, well, actually, we
Discussed it before.
Yeah, we had this on last meeting, all right, we received it. Lou had said, if there is another qualified candidate that has stepped forward, she would encourage us to accept that person. So, with that being said, I took the liberty as president to put them on the agenda.
Okay, well, I talked to Lou Ryan, and I don't think that's the case.
Okay?
I don't think what you're saying is true.
All right, thank you. All right.
Now, I would be in favor of putting them both on, if you'd be willing to step down from the planning commission. You've been on it a couple of years. Why don't you step down?
So I'd like to
and
take
give
this
some
to
other
a vote,
people?
please.
Why don't you step down
I'd
and
like
give
to
some other
take this to
people
a
a
vote,
chance?
please.
Why don't you step down and give some other
I'd
people
like
a
to take
chance
this
to,
to a vote, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll count.
Mr. Amendola,
No.
Mr. Krass,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Glosser,
No.
Ms. Nimitz,
Yes.
Mr. Rosario?
Yes.
Mr. Lassie?
Yes.
Votes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Passes.
All right.
Okay.
I'll just let you take. And just for the record, I left 2 voicemails for Miss Lorraine to confirm what she had told me earlier. I have not heard anything back. So Lou, if
Are we
you're out
gonna have a
there,
discussion about this?
please feel free to
Are
call
we
me.
gonna have a discussion about this, or is it?
I'm actually chairing the meeting, and it's
Yeah, well,
my,
you're
it's
you're
my
still talking
privilege
about it.
to
Mr.
talk about
President.
this if I want, because
Really?
you're over there.
A point of
Fred,
order, please. A point
Fred,
of order, please.
Fred, we're going to put it this way.
You like
If
to
you
get the last
continue to
word.
challenge me
You like
and
to
say
get the
that I'm a
last word.
liar,
You are.
I'm not a liar.
I'm saying it in public.
Hi, I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. Thank you very much. I just want to put that out there. Thank you, Fred. Even when we give you what you want, you still have the audacity to call
Mr.
somebody a liar.
President, can we move on to?
Yes.
I'm just calling a spade a spade.
All right, discussion, administration, if you'd like to proceed.
Advertising for the new borough manager has been placed in the PSAB, the website, Post Gazette, Monster.com, and Local Government Academy. I'm not sure how many candidates applied, Mr. Rosario. Is there a number that we received as far
I
as?
think actually we're about like 6 now, actually.
Okay, that was only placed last week, so we got a lot of interest in this position. And it'll continue until the job's filled, so those advertisements will stay out there until the job's filled.
And because I was distracted with the ongoings here, I'd like to advertise the planning commission meeting for Wednesday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Thank you. And we'll make sure this agenda gets updated right on the website. All right, thank you. Yes.
Okay, community announcements.
What was the date then?
My office was notified by
Wednesday, May
NFL,
23rd, 7 p.m.
sorry, NFL Films will be doing a story on Bill Cowher. They will be in town, talk to council president, solicitor about any type of releases. They will only be taking photo shots of Bill Cowher, welcome to Crafton sign. They'll be taking a shot of a business district, probably somewhere in East Crafton. I recommended the restaurant since it's a well known for its greens and beans, the Italian business district. Bill Cowher's house in Cowher Way, placard on Cowher Way. No interviews, no talking, just the photographer's gonna come in and take some still pictures of the things around Crafton Borough. The pool opens up Saturday, May 26th. The crew's down there getting things prepared, Public Works. Contractors still need to come back. Mr. Solicitor, I think you've seen a copy of the emails as far as the repairs that were, as far as the lawn rating. I think I got the latest email and he's sure me to be back this week. Memorial Day celebration, Monday, May 28th. Parade begins at 11, starts at Ingram Borough Building, goes to Crafton Borough Building. It's led by the American Legion Post 145. Crafton Public Library, Saturday, June 9th, 10 to 6 p.m. Summer reading, ice cream social, sponsored by Raiders Ice Cream. Is that right? Raiders
Yes.
Ice Cream? Accepting applications for the Crafton Building Appeals Board, 3-year term. Anybody interested, please notify the borough. Household chemical disposal event, Saturday, July 21st, 9 to 1 at the Washington County Wild Things Park. There's a fee, $3 a gallon. Want to visit the website for more details at www.pre.org or call 412-488-7452. Borough of Crafton will be hosting the next Char West COG evening meeting in Community Center Thursday, June 21st, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. Any additional citizen comments?
We have a correction, actually. The solicitor said because we're gonna miss the advertising deadline, we're not gonna be able to have the planning commission meeting. So for everybody, we're gonna have to scrap that. I'm gonna have to call up the commissioners and see what day works best. So, I apologize for that. Pardon?
Planning commission meeting's on hold for now.
Yes, yeah. We don't want to miss the advertising deadline. And with that being said, one of our planning commissioners' birthdays is on Thursday, so that's initially why we were trying to make the schedule work. Her birthday is on Thursday, and that's why I was trying to accommodate
So
on Wednesday.
it's been advertised already for Thursday, but it's no longer.
No, we were going to advertise it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's too late if we move it to Wednesday.
It's still advertised.
Right, but we don't want it to be down. So, question with regards to planning commissioner, Mr. Kramer that's been appointed, do we need to have a swearing in? What's the process? All right. All right, any additional citizen comments? All right, with that, I'm going to be adjourning the meeting. Thank you.